Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Reinvention Show. We are live and we're coming together to explore how do we not just survive the current turbulence, constant uncertainty, and disruption, but how do we thrive in it? How do we enjoy the bumpy ride we're in and learn how to turn it into opportunity? I am Dr. Nadia Raksimbaeva. I'm the creator and founder of the Reinvention Academy, and many of you are joining us because you're either graduates of our programs or you're part of our global nonprofit, a philanthropic community called Reinvention Society. Always happy to connect. And as you're joining us, excited to see where you join us from. So in the comments, would love to hear where you join us from. As always, an international crowd. I am still in Columbus, USA, in state of Ohio, and I am just about to jump on a plane and fly from different parts of the world, San Francisco, then Frankfurt, then Astana, and back. So I will not see you for a few weeks, but this is a chance to see where you joining me from. I see Olga is here. Where you join us from? Olga, let us know. I would love to see who else is here. I see people are joining. I see likes and hearts. My hearts and likes back. I see Michael is here from Germany. Welcome, Michael. Always excited to see you. Please share in the comments where you join us from. This is always a joy to see how many of us. East Tennessee is in the house. Slovenia is in the house. Germany is in the house. US is in the house. Welcome to the Reinvention Show. And I have a real treat for you. For me, this is always amazing to bring the guests that inspire, that give practical, pragmatic results, that are all about walking the talk. And that's exactly the guest I have today. And for me, it's always a pleasure to learn from the amazing reinventor. He started in theater and performing arts. He reinvented many times in his life and has now been an incredible coach, serving executives, business leaders, managers, change makers, so many disruptors all over the world. I am excited, my pleasure to bring to the stage Rob Salafia. Welcome, Rob.
Thank you, Nadia. It is a pleasure to be on your show.
This is so exciting. So, in addition to all the countries I already mentioned, Slovakia is here, St. Petersburg is here, Tampa, Florida is here, Kazakhstan, Astana is here. So many people are welcoming you. We are so excited to see you. And of course, everyone, you can learn more about Rob's work and connect directly to him on LinkedIn. Rob, excited to see you at the show. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Nadia. And I really appreciate the global attendance that you bring. When I work at MIT as an executive coach within the mid-career programs, I work with an international group. I'm an executive. So I've coached people from all over the world. And it's amazing how we have so much more in common than we do differences. It's a shared sense of humanity, a shared sense of growth and reinvention that we all have to go through.
I love that. Absolutely. That's the spirit of this community.
Yep.
And I want to jump straight into your own story because it's so rich and powerful and it's unfolding. So, the first thing I want to ask is about your starting point, your history in the theater and performing arts. What did you do? What did you learn from that field that can be applied everywhere else? What did you learn?
Sure. It's really interesting because I was a geography major in college. International development. I went to Nepal, Kathmandu for a semester of school when I was 20 years old. And it was an amazing, cathartic experience. When I left it, I really took a left-hand turn. I finished my degree and I found myself in theater, street performing to be exact. I learned to be a juggler, a tap dancer, a rope and wire walker. It was the place that I learned how to learn because there was no rule book for it. There was no template for it. I would watch in Boston. There's a great place to perform. I would watch these seasoned performers have 300-400 people around them and keep them enthralled for over an hour. And I would try it. I would have 17, 18 people come around, and then like the wind, they'd be gone. And I'd be like, how do you do this? It was trial and error. I learned how to become comfortable with my mistakes and failure. What I learned was I had to make myself interesting. No, I had the hat you see over here. That was the hat that I wore. I had a nice short tuxedo top. But really what I learned was I learned how to be interesting by becoming interested in my audience. I had to get connected to them. I had to show them I was confident and instill confidence in them in my abilities. And I had to have a good, strong, powerful voice to be heard. So all of those things took time to learn. I learned to have a vision for myself, what I wanted to create as an artist. And so that if I didn't quite get there, I knew where I was going. That's the trial and error. And when you work the streets as a street performer, I elevated that to be a theater experience. And you never know what's going to happen. Quick story. I'm doing a performance. I bend down. There's 300 people around me. I get my hat and I felt something drop away. It was this feeling of wanting to be liked, this desire, which was never comfortable for the audience. I learned I didn't have to do anything to hold the attention of my audience. I could do nothing. I call it the art of doing nothing. And then this small 2-year-old girl walks out from the crowd with a pink dress on and a balloon tied to her wrist. And she was totally unaware of what was going on, the way little kids are. And I looked and my audience was all watching her, not me. So I walked up to her very close because my job was to get her safely to her parents. I put one finger under each arm. I lifted her arms up and I went, ta-da! Big applause from the audience. I was able to return her to her parents. And then when I looked, there was this deeper sense of connection because they appreciated the care that I took. These little things matter in how we show up.
Oh,
These
absolutely.
are just some of the lessons that I learned from theater.
Absolutely. And it's already resonating. Here's Sherry, who is really loving this idea how to be interesting by being interested.
Yes.
Interesting by being interested. And I think that's such a deep thing that those who have interesting lives are the ones who are interested. Those who
Yeah.
have a lot of success in life are the ones who appreciate, honor, and really pay attention to other stories of success as an inspiration, not as competition. So there's a lot of resonance there. And I love the story. Being in the moment, not being afraid to use what life just suggested to you. This little girl was a kind of invitation from life. Here is
That's
an
right.
opportunity. And not ignoring that and going with the script, but instead being in the moment, playing with what is unfolding. Beautiful, beautiful story. I love that. Now
Those
you
are the
yep.
those are the skills that we have to develop inside of ourselves. And it's through repetition that we're able to do that.
Another big lesson, repetition. There is
Yep.
no other way. And I keep telling that to people on how quantity transfers into quality. Somebody asked, how did you learn to do this? For example, I'm very bad at writing, but I need to write. How did I learn? I wrote a lot of bad things.
Yeah,
I wrote bad emails, bad pages, bad cases, bad social media posts. And then there was a moment where my team member said, Anya Brown said, hey, your writing just changed. It was about a year into heavy weekly writing. Weekly.
Yes.
I would write newsletter and social media posts weekly, 5, 6 of them a week. And it took a year until suddenly, as you say, I found it. The not being desperate, trying to be liked, but being in the present and really creating value. I love those stories.
Well, that's the thing about the arts that I like. It's through discipline and practice that we move from being it's the apprentice model. We move from being a novice, which is we dip our toe in, but it's very easy to try something and then boom, you're out of it, you forget.
Mm-hmm.
You have to really fully immerse yourself, and then you get into they call the woodshed, the apprentice, where you learn all the tools and all, the things that you could do. Then you go into the journeyman, that the journey person that is a professional.
Mhm.
And mastery happens without you even noticing it. It's through that repetition as you described.
I love that. Now you're transitioning, and you transition many times, and you've done this now
Yes.
for many years. You transition into business, into professional life,
Yes.
helping others use the richness of your performing arts experience in a professional environment, especially in a organizational setting, whether it's for profit, non-profit, public
Yes.
office. What can we learn from the performing arts? What are those specific takeaways or pragmatic nuggets that you suggest we start with? I know we can learn a lot, but something we
Sure.
can start.
Sure. There's a couple of things that stick with me. One is this idea of showing up and choosing to be present. Presence is a choice, and understanding that how we show up energetically, physically, vocally, emotionally creates an impact on others. And when we become aware of that impact and understand that, and we notice it, then we can begin to make our adjustments. Uh, the other thing that's extremely practical, and it's something that is pervasive now with everyone globally, and it's even before we went remote, but it's even more now with remote, is this idea of managing your daily transitions. We go from meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting. Have you ever had something that happened in the morning, something that was, didn't settle right with you, and you're still thinking about it, carrying it with you throughout your day? Can you possibly bring your best self to that moment, to that next meeting? And if you think about, uh, I like to use the analogy of the therapist that has the 50-minute hour. I used to laugh at that and say, "What? You can't give us a full hour?" No, that 50-minute, that 10 minutes is so important. And I know a lot of people have begun to, try these things out. But what they do is they take a few minutes to write down their notes of the person they just met. Take a pause point, and I use 3 words. I came up with 3 words: breathe, connect, land. You take a breath in, you connect with, if it's your balance, you breathe out, you land inside of yourself. I don't know if you've noticed, even when I took that one breath, all of a sudden my voice got a little bit lower, a little bit deeper, a little bit more calm. When we practice these things, then the person opens up the book of the person coming into the meeting, remembers what the last meeting was about, and is settled and ready for that person to come in, so that that other person feels like this is your most important meeting of the day.
Yeah, I love that. And even when you said breathe, connect, land, I automatically on the word breathe in, right? So
Yes.
just having that reminder, put it on a sticky note in front, tiny sticky note on your computer, and just remember just one breath. You don't
That's
really
right.
need more, just one breath. Breathe, connect, land inside
Yes.
yourself. I love that focus inside ourselves. So having that presence is one key lesson. Maybe there is something else. Maybe there's a story or an
So
example.
another thing, so when I went from being a performing artist, I was a top sales executive at a boutique training company. And I went from, as a performer, I always was like this with my audience, big. But when I went and sat behind a desk, I was more like this. I was a grinder. I was on the phone with clients. I was making, I always wore this face. And so when I left my office to go down to the printer to get a piece of paper, I would still wear the face. I didn't realize I was making myself more important, other people less important, and that I was a bit of a jerk, until somebody kind of said, you're wearing this face? Totally unaware of it. And then she said to me, think of it like this. It's a quote from theater. Tom Stoppard said, think of every exit as an entrance to someplace else. I wasn't so much leaving my office as I was walking into the common space. How did I want to show up? How did I want other people to experience me? How did I want them to experience themselves? And then the story they tell about you after you're gone, that's the story. I went to work. I'm comfortable with practice. So, with the arts. So it took me about 3 weeks where I really grinded on this. How I thought of like, I'm leaving, I'm entering a new space. How do I want to enter into it? Take that breath, step into the space. It's just that little pause. But if people can, that's a little way to recalibrate your thinking. And I like that idea of shifting. So another shift is when people say to me, how can I connect better with my audience? I said, that's a good thought, but think of it like this. How could you allow your audience to connect better with you? That's the shift. So all of a sudden you have to realize, oh, right, I have to be welcoming, right? I have to be open. I have to be fully present. That's the way to shift your thinking in terms of how you want to show up, manage your transitions throughout the day, and be aware of the message you're sending without saying a word, and make sure it's a good one, it's a positive one.
So here I want to highlight for everyone, as I know you are seeing a lot of benefits there, writing it down and posting things on your computer. Love that. What I would like us to remember, to remind ourselves, that research is very clear on this. It's not only our thinking shows up on our face, right? There's a feedback between our cognitive process and our physical appearance. But equally so, we have undebated evidence that it works backwards. The face you wear shapes your thinking. So if
Yeah,
you are wearing that face that I cannot exactly, but I have my own intense faces. If you're
yep,
wearing that face, you're actually giving feedback, biofeedback back to your brain that this is the perspective, the glasses you are using to look at the world right now. And it
yeah,
shapes what neural pathways are used. And we have research that yes, something like smiling in a mirror while you're washing your hands will signal things to your
yeah,
brain to reset. So it's not just a technical fake thing. We don't want anyone to be fake and put a fake face on, but it is having flexibility in
yes,
choosing the state in which we want to be. What state, what, you know, I'm exiting using your metaphor that is so powerful. I'm exiting, I'm entering into another
yeah.
door. What what do I want to be? Because it will give signals to your brain.
You can choose this. You
Mhm.
can choose how you want to show up. And I call it there's a 4 keys to being confident. And if you folks, I'm going to be offering them the first chapter of my book. And in it, I describe this way of the best self
Mhm.
and how we can go back and find a time when we were really fully engaged and connected. And how did we, what was our signature stance? I worked with a woman that was really struggling at work. And there was one person that was really being hard on her. And she all the confidence just drained out of her. And
Mhm.
she was worried. And I asked her if she ever, there was a time when she felt in her best self. And she paused and she said, yes, I played flute in a marching band, very successful. And I said, show me what it looks like when you play. She would stand up like this. She stood up like this and took this really great position as a flute player. That was earned through discipline and practice. And I asked her as she was standing like that, I said, how do you feel right now? And she said, I feel great. I feel powerful. I feel grounded. So it's exactly what you're saying. You don't smile because you're happy. You're happy because you smile.
Mhm.
And it goes both ways.
Yes.
So we can reclaim, I call that a signature stance.
Mhm.
When we find one that is either our own through our own discipline and practice, or one that we see that we want to step into. Like my daughter used to study ballet. You look at a ballet dancer, they have this graceful top, they
Mhm.
have powerful bottom. It's like they're totally connected. And you see this grace and power held at the same time. It's just amazing. discipline and practice. That's why I
Love
like the
that.
cards.
So let me give a little assignment to our audience using Rob's coaching right here. Think of the moment you felt like your best self and try
Yes.
to physically stand in that moment. That is the reminder anytime you're entering into a difficult meeting or you're facing a challenging assignment. So you need to master your energy. Just placing yourself in your best self stance will
Yeah.
immediately give you a boost. And those of you who want to know more, of course, in the chat, in the comments, you can already see where to find the Leading from Your Best Self book, so that you can learn so much more from Rob. And here, let me ask you about the most recent reinventions because I know you're evolving. And COVID, of course, accelerated the reinvention process for most of us. So,
Yes.
how have you evolved over COVID and where are you going next?
Great question. Thanks, Nadia. So in March 2020, I was mostly delivering in-person sessions, 1, 2 day programs like, that I would. And at MIT, I deliver these in addition to coaching. And the director called me and said, everyone is remote. Can you do these sessions remotely? I didn't hesitate for a moment. I said, of course. In 2 weeks, and I was wanting to do this anyway. 2 weeks, I had 3 2-hour sessions designed. And they were very rough, but they worked. And then I looked at my image on my laptop and I was looking down into it and I said, I could do better than this. So I lifted it up to level height. And I looked at the picture and I went, I still do better than this. And I got the webcam and that kind of distorts a little bit, I kept working at it over the past 2.5 years. Now I have a 65-inch screen. Now, of course, not everyone can do this. Everyone is in different situations. I'm lucky, but I have a 65-inch screen. I have a mirrorless camera between me and the screen. I have good lighting. I created this as a natural background, and I put all the elements about who I am with me. So there's the Buddha for meditation, there's the wire walker, there's my hat, there's my book, there's a guitar that I pull off the wall and do play that. So these are the ways that we can continually iterate, work at it, get better. Now, I'm focused in on the next chapter, and that is how can I extend my learning opportunity in the area of executive presence excellence to more people globally. So I'm in the process of creating a virtual program that's more of a subscription that people can take a monthly webinar, take an e-learning class with a number of videos and resources that I create myself. They can join mastery classes where they can discuss how to put the skills into practice. They can sign up for one-on-one coaching. So I'm planning to launch that, not hoping, I'm planning to launch that in January. And if anyone is interested, you have my contact information. I'd be happy to talk to you about it. From an individual level, you'll be able to join it. From an organizational level, I'll be doing a unlimited user subscription so that more people I can make this available to more people.
Absolutely love those transitions. So, using the disruption to really build, force, project, and propel yourself into
Yep.
a different model or a different market. So, first, a different model, going virtual, and then a different market, not only corporate training or large group training, but also business to consumer and consumer purchases with the individuals, people. And those of you who are interested in testing some of this out, of course, join Rob for a free session. There is a link that is in the comments that you can try it out, see how it feels, and also learn from what Rob is doing in terms of his executive presence. Just watching a master do it, you're like, this is interesting. Maybe I should try that or consider
That's
that a
great.
cool trick. So this is always the apprenticeship model, right? It's not only the content you get in terms of what is being translated, but also what's in between the formal content. There's a beautiful scientist. Let me see her name. I just had it, Nora. I will remember it. She studies warm data. It's a human data that is not verbal. It's everything, all the cues we get. How do
Yes.
you understand why this person can command the attention the way you were studying all those street for performances on how could they hold the attention of 300 people on the street? Absolutely love it. We're coming to the end, and I want to ask you for a kind of last blessings and advice. We have a global community of reinvention professionals or people who are beginning to allow themselves to think they're reinvention professional because we are born reinventors. We're just educated out of it. Kids reinvent as a normal default factory setting. No kid ever needs a bonus to start walking. This is what we do naturally. But we're quickly educated out of it. And unless, like yourself, you broke the mold and you went from international studies and geography into performing arts, most of us are searching for that way to reclaim our reinvention capacity. For those
Yes.
people, what would be your last message on how to reclaim your native, innate reinvention capacity?
It's such a wonderful question. And how to reclaim. I just love that. So think of it like this. It's what's the part of yourself you had to leave behind to be the person you are today? And is that person uh, still there inside of you that has hopes and dreams, that has desires, that has creativity? A lot of people that I've worked with were used to be made a choice going down the road, and they said, "Do I want to be a musician or an artist, or do I want to go into business?"
Mhm.
And a lot of them chose business because it's we need to take care of ourselves, and because the other road is very difficult. But there are elements of that creativity that we can bring with us. So we look back and find those parts of ourselves that we can reclaim that are more creative, that allows us to think and act differently. We have to change up. So one of the things I used to do be a professional tap dancer. So in my town, there's a wonderful teacher, very accomplished. So last year, I'm 67 now, and I signed up for classes with her again, and I'm back at it again this fall. And so it's adult tap dancing classes. I love it. It's just fantastic. Gets me up, it gets me moving. We have to do things differently.
Mhm.
So that's, look at our routine day to day and how can we find ways to break out of that routine. If it's driving to work, take a different road, find ways to open up our minds to creative thinking.
I absolutely love it. My own business coach, one of many I have, Amy Porterfield, says, DSD something today. Do something different. DSD. So, hey guys, in the comments, give me a promise. What can you DSD today? What can you do differently today? And I would love to see your commitments popping up. In the meantime, I would be absolutely excited if you connect to Rob and his work. And I so appreciate that you had a chance to join us for this show and share your wisdom, your insights, your nuggets of pragmatic action. Thank you so, so very much.
Thank you very much for having me.
And here you have it. Our reinvention show is complete. I'm super thankful you could join us. And of course, for anyone who wants more, we have a couple of options. If you would like to test out some reinvention skills, tools, and content, you can download the free preview of our handbook, the Chief Reinvention Officer Handbook, How to Thrive in Chaos. Remembering that this is not about becoming a Chief Reinvention Officer, but it's reclaiming your own reinvention capacity by saying, yes, I want to be a chief reinvention officer of my own life. That's the starting point. And the second thing is that, of course, we have an easy reinvention lab coming up. It's a 5-day free live event. We hold 1-hour sessions on Zoom once a day. It's amazing energy. Last one, 700 people participated. But this specific lab is designed for consultants, coaches, trainers. So if this is the industry you are in, consulting, coaching, and training, or this is the industry you want to enter, this is the easiest way to enter because we show you the latest trends and give you tools which you can use immediately. So register for the lab, grab the handbook, share this story, share this journey with your community, share what you got from today's training. And I already see that you guys are grateful for what's going on. You're really committing to trying new things and being open minded. And I see that Slovakia, Henrietta, is responding that this was very, very helpful. We're excited that you found it helpful. I hope to see you at the Easy Reinvention Lab in October, starting October 12th. So you have time to book your seat, put it in your calendar now. October 12th, starting on Wednesday this time, consulting, coaching, training, industry, and those who want this as maybe their side hustle, maybe as a way to future proof and recession proof their career. We see a lot of turbulence in corporate world. So can you prepare plan B for yourself? Would love to see you at the next lab. And until then, reminder, I'm traveling for many weeks. So we're taking a break with the show, but we will be back once we have a reinvented concept. And of course, see you all over social media. Lovely, lovely to connect and see you